Hey, hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. Today, let's talk about 3 reasons why you're not hitting your goals. And I have brought on Lori. Oh my gosh, Lori, I should have asked you how you pronounce your last name. Let me guess. Hold on, because I get this all the time with my last name. Oberbrooklyn.
Yeah, good enough.
Sweet. Okay, I got it. I brought on Lori, who is, I just call her the super mom. She's the woman who can do all the things. Gosh, how many kids do you have?
4,
And a full-time job and a full-time business that she's doing and all the things.
all the
And
things.
she just crushes it. I'm always impressed by her. And when we talk goal setting, I'm like, Lori, we got to get you on so we can talk about this. So let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about you. 4 kids, full-time job, and a business. How? First.
I know, right? Yes. 4 kids. They're 12 to 6. I work in corporate America. I am a leader in clinical research. And then, yes, I have the business where I have a book and a podcast and coaching and all the things. So yes, things are very, very busy, but also super awesome.
I think some people heard and you have a pot, like all these things that you have going on, and they're like, how? So can you break down just like what goal setting with the process, what does that look like actually?
Yeah. So I think we make some mistakes, right? Because we think that we know how to reach goals, but I think so often we don't know how to reach goals
Right.
because we sort of expect for certain things to be in place and we expect certain feelings to come that don't always come when we
Mm.
are trying to set goals. So, one thing, for example, we think we're going to be motivated about our goals all the time, right? Like, I'm going to write a book. So I'm just going to wake up and I'm going to be so excited to write this book every day. No, you certainly will not.
Nope.
No, you won't. So if you're waiting for motivation and you're waiting for motivation to either start to meet or to continue to meet your goals, you're probably not meeting your goals, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't maintain motivation all the time.
Mm.
Motivation comes fleetingly sometimes
Right.
and also comes with action. So
Mm.
if we're just kind of hanging out, waiting, going tomorrow, I'm going to be motivated and I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel good. And then you wake up and the baby woke up 4 times and your Great Dane woke you up at 11:30 thinking it was an awesome time to go hang out outside by the pool. And you woke up and you had that little crick in your neck that you like can't turn your body without, right? You are always going to have these things that are going to try to zap away that motivation.
Hmm.
And so waiting for motivation is a mistake. You just have to start. And even if it means starting really small, right?
Yeah.
Starting really small can get us along the way and can get us the motivation we're looking for.
I love that because I think a lot of times what I see is people think it's like an all or nothing. If I can't do all the things, then I'm going to do nothing. And that's when you lose momentum. And that's when you don't reach your goals because you're like, I have to do all the things like all at once, right? But it like really the secret that I found to our success is just consistency of
Consistency.
doing a little bit, like figuring out what are the right things that you need to be doing and just do that consistently over time. And before you even realize it, like things are coming in together, like it's falling into place, and you're like, "Holy crap!" And then like a decade has passed, and you look back, you're like, "How did that happen?" It was just like I just continue to show up, right?
Yes, it's working, right? Like
Yeah,
one day we just wake up and go, oh my goodness, it's actually working. Oh my goodness,
yeah,
oh my goodness, I actually did it, right?
yeah.
Like if you think book writing, for example, I wanted to write my book in 30 days. That's a very fast book timeline for those of you that have not written a book. I wanted to write it in 30 days. And how could I do that? I broke it down into small chunks. So
Yeah.
some days I would wake up and I would write 100 words and literally nothing else would come to my mind. And I would go, okay, tomorrow I'll write 700 words, right? And
Mm.
every day I showed up and I wrote a little, and some days I wrote a lot. And every day I showed up and I didn't quite hit my goal, but I was very close at 34 days. And so I wrote a book in 34 days because every
Wow.
day I showed up. I just showed up.
That reminds me a lot of John Maxwell. So I did a year with John Maxwell, this leadership program, and he talked about his rule of 5. And I don't remember all 5 things that he did, but I remember 3 of the 5 that he does every day. And he goes, John Maxwell, by the way, he's written what, like 90 books? How
Something
many New York
ridiculous.
Times bestseller? Like a
Yes.
ridiculous, like accomplished man, right? He goes, every day I read, every day I write, every day I file. And it like, I forgot the last two. Sorry, John, but it's been like a decade. But like, that's what stuck with me. I was like,
Yeah.
every day, like, do you want to be a New York Times bestselling author with 90 plus books? Every day he reads, every day he writes, every day he files.
Yes,
So
it's
like,
not about being special. It's
No.
just about being consistent.
Yep. Huge.
That's
Okay.
exciting.
What else?
Okay. So another thing that I think we do a lot of hoping, right? We do a lot of wishing.
Yeah.
We do a lot of, I hope one day I'll write a book. I hope this year is the year I start my podcast. I hope that my business kicks off this year, and not a strategy. Hope is never a strategy,
Yep.
right? So I have a colleague that I worked with when I was a counselor, and he would say, trying is lying, right? So if you're going to try to do it, you're not. You trying is lying. You either do it or you do not. And so I think
what does Yoda say? Because my dad would always quote Yoda, there's no try,
Yes,
there is
what-
just do. Like,
yeah,
that's
so
what I
yeah,
always heard
you
growing up
either
from
do
my
or
dad.
do or do not. There is no try. I
Yep.
think, yeah, something like that. Yes. So, and that's the same concept, right? We're not going to try to do it. We're not going to hope to do it. You're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And if you don't know how to do it, you're going to figure out how to do it, and you're going to make a plan.
Yep.
And sometimes that plan is going to have tiny little itty bitty steps that you don't have to wait for motivation to do, but you're just going to follow the plan. And it becomes so much easier than hoping and wishing and having this someday thing always floating around. It's so much easier to make that plan and then slowly tick away at it. And maybe it's a 5-year plan. That's okay.
Right.
It doesn't need to be a 30-day plan,
Right.
but slowly ticking away at the plan is how we get consistency, like we talked about, how we continue to work towards it. And then one day you wake up and go, wow, I wrote a book, or wow, I started my podcast, or wow, I actually have a business that's running itself and it's amazing, right?
Yeah. What about someone who might have like self-doubt of like, I hope, but it's like they get in the way of taking action. They stop themselves.
Yes. And so for me, the plan is the key. And this is why, because I doubt myself too, right? I go,
We
oh my
all
goodness,
do.
yeah.
Anyone who says they don't is lying.
Yes. Who am I to do this? Am I really cut out for this? Am I really going to help them? Right? There is so much that can come up for us. Is this really what's right for me? Do I deserve this? Am I enough for this? Right? But there's so many things that can come up in our minds. And so for me, the plan is key, because once I make the plan, I don't have to worry about if I'm enough, or if I'm good enough for this, or if I am the right person for this, or if I deserve this. I just have to follow the plan. Yep. Wake up, do the next step. Wake up, do the next step. And I don't have to fight with myself about it. I can just follow the plan. And I think that is the best strategy, because it doesn't allow me to wait for motivation. It doesn't allow me to wait for hoping. And it certainly doesn't allow me to get in my own way.
Do you have like a routine or something that you do in the morning? Because I know, like, obviously you work full time, so it's like the morning hour for you is really, really important. And I know me and you meet for coaching calls at like 6 a.m. your time, which I'm like, you're
so
crazy,
I wake up obscenely early, right? I wake up at 4 because I'm a morning person, because that's right for me. Now, I do not hear me say you must wake up 4 to be successful. No, that is not what I'm saying. Not at all. I think you need to know your high energy times, and you need to use those high energy times. So for me, that's 4 in the morning, and I'm going to use that high energy time to absolute best for me. If yours isn't, then find yours, and then you use your time whenever that is. But for me, yes, I have a strategy. So I wake up at 4, and every day I do gratitude. Every day I look at what my schedule is and those top 3 things I want to hit that day, or sometimes only top 1. If there's just one big thing, I'm going to focus on my one big thing. And then I do things like feed the dogs and get coffee and do a few little logistical things before anybody else is awake, because that gives me the time to do all of this. Yeah. And then some days I add in a workout. Some days I add in maybe a few other things, right? Writing or other things. But I think that's consistency for me. Again, I'm not waiting to be motivated. I'm just counting on my habits to get me going. And then my motivation after action starts, my motivation comes in what keeps that momentum.
Yeah, those habits are key, like just anchoring something in. I remember, I forget what book I was reading, but they talked about how we have like a set amount of willpower, and throughout the day it starts to wane. And I totally feel that in myself of like, it's not necessarily motivation, but it's the willpower around getting stuff done. So I know for me, it's like if I'm writing a book, which like that'll come for me at some point, I have to decide when. If there's something important that I need to work on, it has to happen in the morning, because right around this time, by 2 o'clock, by the time I'm done with calls and everything and the kids are getting home from school, it's like my creative time is done.
Done,
And like
gone.
the willpower is gone. And it's just like I kind of want to just like chill and get in the zone, right?
Yeah.
And so figure out like what can you do first thing in the morning before things get crazy, before kids, before all that stuff. Like I did that with another one of our Activate students. She homeschools and has, 2 kids, right? And she's a single mom. I'm like, what if you just woke up a little bit earlier and got this amount done before the kids wake up? And that completely changed the game for her.
Yes. Yes. Because as so often as moms, I know you do have a lot of moms in your
A lot.
community, right? Tons of moms. And me as being super mom, right? I know that a lot of you stay up late after your kids go to bed, but how often are you using that as like critical day time to hit your goals? Some
Yep.
of you might be, and if you are, keep at it. But if most of you are watching Netflix, scrolling social media, wasting that time. So go to sleep and use that time in the morning to be amazing. And
Yep.
see how much your day is different, right? The
Yep.
day changes when you can do that.
That's
And then
like
I was
one
also
thing. Yeah.
I was going to tell you one other thing with the like your decision making fades throughout the day,
Yep.
right? If I don't meal plan at the beginning of the week and decide what we're making and grocery shop for it, I am not going to decide at 5 p.m. that I'm going to make a healthy meal. We're probably getting Taco Bell, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to keep those healthy things up. So even things like how to consistently stay healthy, how to consistently meet your physical needs wanes throughout the day because we just can't make any more decisions. We just can't we can't use any more willpower than we've already used.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. So if there's like one thing you can implement already from our conversation, it's like figure out what you can do in the morning before life, willpower waits, all those crazy things, and just get her done. Cool.
Yeah.
What else?
All right. My last big one is your goals are your big goals, but they often don't get the big boundary, right? So you've set this big goal and you said it was really important to you and it's like living on your heart, maybe for years. And then your boundaries are tiny around it. The second the kids need something, or your spouse needs something, or your partner needs something, or someone at work needs something, or your team needs something, your goal goes out the window. And you say, I'll work on that tomorrow. Or I can probably do that tomorrow because this goal is just for me. And it's okay. I'll just do this for someone else. No, no, no. Flip that around. Your biggest boundary needs to protect those big goals. And you have your time, and maybe that's your 5:30 in the morning time, right? Your 5:30 to 6 a.m. is your big boundary. And you say, no one gets to get in my way at 5:30 in the morning. This is my time, and I will not let anybody move it. This is my time, and I'm setting a boundary.
That's so good.
Yeah. I know you see women let their boundaries get crushed right over.
All the time. All the time. Oh my gosh. It's like all the time, especially when you have kids. It's just like a lot of times the kids take priority as they should. But that's why I'm like, how could you wake up just a little bit earlier so that you could get that time for yourself before the
prevent
kids?
prevent the overrunning of the boundaries, right?
Exactly.
Find a boundary that has less likelihood of getting run over or having you be asked to run over it, right?
Yeah.
And then you can you start to work up to that. You've set it a little bit and you've set it a little bit and you've set it a little bit more. And now it feels stronger and you're like, okay, I can set this boundary. So when someone does try to schedule a 5:30 a.m. meeting on my calendar, I can say, I can't do that time, but I'm happy to switch that time, right? I set the boundary.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. Do you ever like sleep in or
Sometimes.
sometimes?
So if I work out really hard, I realize I need more sleep. What? Right? The body does what the body needs the things that the body is using.
Yep.
And I sometimes don't adjust for that. And so then I start to get tired and I realize it. And I can tell in my energy, I can tell in my patience, I can tell in my mood. And so on the weekends, I'll try to sleep in a little bit later. Now, I don't wake up usually much past 5, but I will try to stay a little bit longer in bed because I value my energy and I value my mood probably above all things.
Totally.
I need all of that to be the best me, the best mom, the best spouse, the best employee, the best team member, right? The best leader. Yep. I need it. And so I protect it.
Energy is everything. Like it is everything. You have to protect your energy.
Yeah.
Huge.
My most important.
Yeah. So you have a challenge coming up. Can you tell us about
I
that?
do, yes. So starting September 19th, we have a 5-day challenge, and it is how to actually hit your goals in 2022. Because we're in quarter four, right? You're holding up the big four. We are coming into quarter four. This is it for 2022. And I'm willing to bet some of you made goals at the beginning of the year and you've never looked back at them. And
Mhm.
some of you didn't make any goals, but you're like, oh, but I kind of want to get some stuff done here in 2022. And some of you, maybe you're kind of on the path, but you're really kind of waning and you're thinking, oh, the holidays are coming. And so now I just have to throw in the towel and start again in January. No, no, I
Mm.
say we will actually make a plan to hit your goals this year without being burnt out for the holidays, without rolling into 2023 exhausted. That is not the goal. We are going to hit them with high energy and feel amazing at the end of the year.
I think that's so, so, so important because like this is this is go time for people who really want to achieve more. Instead of pulling back, this is where you could really push and finish the year really, really strong. Instead of like kind of coasting into next year and then you're like starting off at a dip and then it's like an uphill battle, you can actually finish this year so strong and crush it and then go into the next year with so much momentum that it's like you're unstoppable.
Right?
So,
Isn't like, can you feel it? I can feel it because I am like,
yes.
yes, this is exactly it. Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited. The link to register, it's going to be rachelandgom.com/Lori. And if you're here on the live stream with us, I'll make sure to post the link in the chat for you. But make sure to go to register. I think it's going to be amazing. So rachelandgom.com/Lori, Lori. You're amazing. I'm so excited for this challenge and just the transformations that are going to be happening from it.
You're amazing. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, I'm gonna go register because you're awesome. And I know it's gonna be like it's gonna be really good, real good.
So good.
So thank you for being here, and we'll talk soon. Bye.
Amazing. Bye.